out, I think I killed it.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck straight out of Edge of Eternity Standard. This one is a little bit special though. This is actually a Patreon submission from none other than Fuzinachi, or Metafuzi, or 𝐀𝐫𝐞𝐧𝑚. He goes by so many names, but he submitted this over on Patreon, and it was super intriguing, and I just had to get this out to you guys and get your thoughts on what you think about trying to smash these two seemingly very different ideas into the same deck. This deck is called Pixie Patrol, and it's sort of a pixie deck. It's using weapons manufacturing, but it's also a Monument to Endurance deck that's focused on discarding cards, using Artist Talent as the glue that both contributes ways to discard for Monument to Endurance, while also contributing extra damage to your munitions tokens if you get it leveled up all the way. It's a super interesting idea, and like I said, I'm super curious what all of you think about it, and if there's really something to this, and if we should keep iterating on it, because I do think the idea is absolutely wild, and we do some pretty crazy stuff as you'll see in the gameplay. But before we break down the deck and then get into the gameplay, please like the video. It helps me get the video out to so many more people. It helps the channel grow. I appreciate it so much, you guys that have been slamming that like button. It matters. It matters so much, you have no idea. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. I got some spoiler videos on the way. I've got even more crazy deck techs on the way. Super excited for all the stuff that's coming. Be sure to catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. I'm about to leave to go hit up a draft at my LGS, Merrimack Games, over in Merrimack. Love it. If you happen to be in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, in that area, you should come hang out there sometime. Really cool place to play. I usually draft there every Wednesday. So with all of that out of the way, let's break down the deck. Alright, so this deck is kind of crazy. This is a recent Patreon submission from Fuzi, aka 𝐀𝐫𝐞𝐧𝑚, Metafuzi, Fuzinachi. He goes by all of the names ever. He submitted this to Patreon, and it's actually really interesting. So on the surface, it kind of looks like it's a weapons manufacturing deck, using weapons manufacturing, a 2-mana enchantment where whenever a non-token artifact enters, you get a munitions token that when it leaves the battlefield can deal 2 damage to any target. Except it isn't just a weapons manufacturing deck, it's also a Monument to Endurance deck, which is a 3-mana artifact that makes it so whenever you discard a card, you choose one that hasn't been chosen, draw a card, create a treasure token, or each opponent loses 3 life. So you can either go wide with a whole bunch of munitions, and then find a way to just sacrifice them all and do a whole bunch of damage to your opponent's head and just win that way. You can also create situations where you get 1 or 2 Monument to Endurance out, and every turn you can discard to draw 2, discard to make 2 treasure tokens, discard to make your opponent lose 3 to 6 life, 6 if you have 2 of these out. And sometimes you could just win that way. You can do 6 on your turn, 6 on your opponent's turn, 6 on your turn again, and just do 18 damage out of nowhere. But also, if you play Monument to Endurance while you already have a weapons manufacturing out, it's going to make another munitions token for you. So there is slightly a little bit of overlapping synergy, which is kind of interesting. I'm super curious about what made Fuzi want to explore this in the first place, but it does seem interesting that these two hyper synergistic decks are getting smashed together, and we ran a bunch of games and the results were super interesting. So some of the cards that we're using to support the deck, first of all, for Monument to Endurance, we have 3 copies of Detention Chariot, which you can cycle for 1 mana, and 3 copies of Clamorous Ironclad, which you can also cycle for 1 mana. These can just dig for the cards you need early in the game, they can get you triggers off Monument to Endurance later in the game, and if you happen to reduce the costs enough that you can hard cast these later, you can theoretically get both of these to trigger the weapons manufacturing because they're both artifacts. How do we reduce the cost? Artist Talent. We're running 4 copies of Artist Talent. When we first play it, it's going to make it so that every non-creature spell we play, we get to discard and draw, but if we level it up to level 2 for 3 mana, all non-creature spells we cast cost 1 less. That's going to make the Ironclad cost only 3, and the Detention Chariot cost only 5. If we happen to get 2 out and leveled up, it could be even less. It could be 2 and 4 mana for these, which is kind of interesting. And then if we get this thing leveled up to level 3, if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. And I think this might be the card that inspired the entire brew, because the first ability works super well with Monument to Endurance, giving you constant discard outlets to generate value, potentially even just kill your opponent with it. But then when it's leveled all the way up, that extra 2 damage actually synergizes super well with weapons manufacturing, so that every single time a token leaves, you're hitting for 4 instead of 2, which can get really, really crazy. So I do like the idea of what we're trying to do here with Artist Talent to sort of bridge the gap between weapons manufacturing and Monument to Endurance, and we have even more crazy synergies baked into this deck. We're running 2 copies of Push the Limit, which is a whopping 7 mana sorcery, which seems like it's a bit too much, but I do want to point out that if we get Artist Talent down and leveled up to at least level 2, it is only going to cost 6. So it's not as unrealistic as it might look on the surface, and it just returns all mounts and vehicles from our graveyard to the battlefield. They have to be sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step, but vehicles we control become artifact creatures until end of turn. And creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So if we've already discarded the Detention Chariots and the Clamorous Ironclads, we could bring them back as hasty creatures that are all of a sudden just swinging in for a bunch of damage and sometimes Alpha Strike out of nowhere. Also, bringing them back is going to trigger all of our weapons manufacturings and give us more tokens. Also, since they need to be sacrificed at end of turn, we can sacrifice them to other beneficial abilities in the deck and not feel so bad about it. The most important of which being Legion Extruder. 2 mana artifact deals 2 damage to whatever we want, but we can pay 2 mana, tap it, sack an artifact to make a 3/3. If that happens to be a Munitions token, we get to deal 2 damage to whatever we want. But we can also just use the Legion Extruder on a Detention Chariot or an Ironclad that we brought back with a Push the Limit, just get a little bit of extra value out of that play. We're also running just 1 Lone Collector's Vault, which is nice because it triggers weapons manufacturing and also gives us a constant discard outlet to use with Monument to Endurance, potentially even ramping us a little bit in the form of treasures to maybe get to that Push the Limit a little bit sooner. We also have 3 copies of Demand Answers, and I think this one's an interesting choice. Instant speed, 2 mana, discard a card, draw 2. The reason this version of this card is in the deck is because instead of discarding a card, you can choose to sacrifice an artifact. So if you don't have the Monument to Endurance out yet, and you're not going to get value off of discarding anything, but you do have weapons manufacturing and you have a few munitions tokens built up, instead you can sacrifice that munitions token, do 2 damage to your opponent's head, keep your entire hand, and still draw 2, which can be really, really good. We're also running 2 copies of Get Lost, which is really nice. Instant speed, 2 mana removal. What's great about this deck too is the map tokens that our opponent creates when we destroy things can get swept up by one of our 3 copies of Pinnacle Starcage. I honestly think this should probably be 4. I think Pinnacle Starcage is just way too important to the deck. But even at 3, it gets the job done and it does so much. It's going to keep the aggro decks at bay, eating all of their early plays. And it's going to eat all of our artifacts, so that if the Pinnacle Starcage ever leaves the battlefield, they all come back and make even more munitions tokens. It's also a way to just eat those munitions tokens to do a bunch of damage either to our opponent's head or to maybe some of the creatures that Pinnacle Starcage can't eat. So it's just super versatile in this deck. We're also running 4 copies of Nurturing Pixie. This allows us to pick up and replay the Pinnacle Starcage to get even more value out of it. But the value doesn't end there. We can also pick up the Legion Extruder, reuse that to get another 2 damage out of that. We can pick up like Detention Chariot to reuse that if we want to. There's a lot of little bits of value you can get off Nurturing Pixie. We can even just use it to pick up a munitions token, which makes it leave the battlefield. It won't actually be in our hand because it's a token, but it will still leave the battlefield and do 2 damage to whatever we want. So, as a plan C, that is a good way to get rid of a munitions token if we absolutely need to. But the better way is our 3 copies of Dusk Rose Reliquary. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, exile target artifact or creature until this artifact leaves the battlefield. So, We can sack a Munitions token, do 2 damage to one of their 2 toughness creatures and kill it, and then also exile their biggest threat with the Duskrose Reliquary. 2 for 1, getting rid of their biggest thing and another thing for only 1 mana is really, really good. And also when we play the Duskrose Reliquary, it's an artifact, so it also triggers the weapons manufacturing itself. I've said it before, I think Duskrose Reliquary is probably the single best card to pair with weapons manufacturing, at least if you're not counting like Pinnacle Starcage because of how much that can do. But if we're just talking like, you know, 1-for-1 values, Duskrose Reliquary is just nuts, man. It does everything you want in a weapons manufacturing deck, and I'm sort of in love with it. So whether you're getting there with weapons manufacturing or Monument to Endurance, this deck has just multiple routes to victory, and we had some really, really interesting games, so I'm excited for you guys to check it out. One last thing I want to point out before we dive into the gameplay. We are running 3 copies of Scene of the Crime, and I don't like it as much in this deck because you specifically need to be able to tap creatures in order to generate mana of any color, and we actually don't have a lot of creatures. We have the Pixies, and then we have the 3/3s we can make with Legion Extruder. So sometimes we're not going to get access to that colored mana, and that could be somewhat problematic. But the reason it's here is because if you play a Scene of the Crime as your land drop after you have a weapons manufacturing out, you'll actually create a Munitions token off just playing a land, because it only cares about a non-token artifact entering the battlefield. It doesn't care about something being cast, it just cares about it being a non-token that enters. So Scene will actually trigger the weapons manufacturing for free just by playing your land drop, and that is pretty good. Although I think it's probably even better in decks that are built around weapons manufacturing that have more creatures, so that you get more consistent access to the colored mana out of it. That being said, it still works pretty well here. If you want to check out the entire mana base, the deck list is in the description, so check that out, and let's check out the games. This looks fine, I guess. We'll keep it. Drop the Elegant Parlor first, get that out of the way. We can Legion Extruder if we need to. We'll keep the Duskrose Reliquary. Do we kill the Dark Confidant? I guess? I guess we kill it. Kind of like the idea of him taking damage from it, but Amalia. Well, we will bounce the Legion Extruder. And we'll kill it and take 3. We'll do what we can while we can. Authority of the Consuls. Well, first we'll do this. I mean, I guess we just cycle everything, right? End the turn. We'll cycle the Ironclad at the end of his turn. He could have discard spells. Could play a bat and take the Starcage, something like that. Scene of the crime. Is it a crime? We have nothing to sacrifice. I mean, I guess Let's see if we can find something. I'm not in a rush to kill it. This is fine. Such a weird card. Sacred Foundry. Let's level you up. And I guess, I don't know, what do we do? There's a lot we could do. Let's just do this. We'll just hold off. Just get this leveled up completely. Legion Extruder will do 4 now, can kill the Harbinger. And the Pinnacle Starcage can kill everything else. Roaming Throne. Oh, okay. Roaming Throne. Roaming Throne. Discard the Starcage. Draw a card. Kill this. Pay the ward. Get lost. Demand answers. I think I want to save it and do that during his turn. Yeah, let's pass. Let's pass the turn. Zoraline, sure. Doesn't have the white left to do it. Tragic Trajectory. Well, we're going to start with demand answers. Discard a card. Discard you. Make a treasure. Discard you. Draw a card. I guess I probably should have killed Zoraline first. Discard a land. Each opponent loses 3. Yeah, I definitely should have killed Zoraline first. I definitely didn't want to do it before combat because I didn't want him to use the map token. Alright, we'll play a Collector's Vault. Discard a land. Draw a card. Detention Chariot. Alright, let's cycle this thing. Get lost. Let's Detention Chariot, I guess. Discard a land. Make them lose 3. Exile this thing. And then I guess we Legion Extruder. Discard Scene. Kill this thing. We have a whole lot of things out now, and his board is clear. How bizarre. How bizarre. Alright. Let's Nurturing Pixie. Turn you. Play you. Our opponent will scoop it up. He's seen enough. We're gonna try this. We'll keep 7. Alright, we'll start with Elegant Parlor. I think we'll dump it. No point spending a mana to get to the next card when we can just not spend the mana and draw the next card. Weapons manufacturing.
Raubard, the Bull of Alamigo.
Very nice. Very nice. Keep you. We'll play you. We'll make you. Hexproof. Hexproof is a pain in the butt. But that's okay, we've got Pinnacle Starcage. Go ahead, play a thing. Play a thing. I would like to keep a Munitions token in case we need it for removal. So we're gonna line it up that way. Zach Fair. Ow. That was rude. That was so rude. Dusk Rose Reliquary. Munitions. Discard a card. We will discard. We shouldn't need 2 more Pinnacle Starcages. Let's get rid of one of those. And we'll exile the hasty thing. No more of that hasty nastiness. No more of that. Kellen searching for... What are you trying to find, my friend? Dominion bracelet, huh? Wild. Phase it out. Sure. Nothing gives haste. So I think we're okay? I guess we discard one of the artist talents. Probably didn't need to shock that in, to be honest. Ooh, Pixie. Pixie. Don't mind if I do. Hit for 2. Kellen. No haste for you, Kellen. Freaking hexproof though, bro. Discard. Draw a card. Kill the Kellen. Make another munitions. Let's cycle you. Make a treasure. Play you. Dusk Rose, Reliquary, Nurturing Pixie. Do kind of like that. Do this. Because we can. And then we get to pick up... what do we want to pick up? Do you want to pick up anything? I guess just the munitions token. And we will exile again, the thing that gives hexproof. Get out of here. 2 damage. And I'm not in a super rush, so I'm going to hold on to the Dusk Rose Reliquary for now. Chainsaw! Sure. Six mana. Guess we just do this. Nothing gives hexproof or haste, right? Oh wait, Sword of Vengeance gives haste. Should probably get rid of that. We should probably get rid of that. Just to be safe. I guess? Discard. Make a treasure. Discard. Make our opponent lose 3 life. Damn, man. Things are getting wild. Our opponent will scoop. Alright. This looks pretty okay. We don't have any of the 2-drops that we would normally want, but we should be able to surveil into one maybe with the Elegant Parlor. Let's see what we can do here. Hey, there we go. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. Play weapons manufacturing on 2. Alright, we'll just go straight up Monument. Get a Munitions token. Mr. Gwent over here is apparently ambitious. Fear of missing out. Oh, damn. Look who it is. Mojo Rogue himself coming in with the raid. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a time to be alive. Welcome, Mojo. Welcome, friends. How do we want to do this? Do we want to slow roll it? I think we might want to slow roll it, guys. Let's do this. Just play out a second weapons manufacturing. We could Pixie to pick up the munitions and hit him for 2. Not worth it. We'll pass the turn. We'll save it all. We're going to save it all. Okay? The fear. The fear is taking over. Yeah, we're going to exile them all with Pinnacle Starcages. So it doesn't matter. Setting up Arden in the graveyard. That's a little bit scary. That's a little bit scary. I mean, I guess we just do this. Smack you for 6. And pass the turn. We are very lucky he doesn't have his reanimation spell. It would be pretty over if he did. Zombify in the yard. Oof. Puts his Arden back in his hand. Could you imagine? We definitely don't want to fear out while Arden does its thing. That would be rough. We'll do that. We'll finish off the fear. Make a 3/3. And then we'll Pixie and pick up the Legion Extruder. So we can do it again next turn. It's getting really close. That Arden could be a problem. Fear. Yeah, this is going to be rough. Luckily, we do have 2 blockers. So it's not the end of the world. He's got a Faithful for next turn, and that's really it. Oh, he gets another trigger, I forgot. because he got another combat phase. So good. So good. Mojo thinks mono blue mill is super strong. You might be right. That is a big board, most of which we cannot get rid of. Legion Extruder. Pop the Legion Extruder. Pinnacle Starcage. I think Pinnacle Starcage might be the way to go here. Alright, let's do this. Two here. Make some munitions tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we get all the triggers. We do one here, one here, one here, one here. And the last one to his head. Now he needs to get lucky and have another Zombify. Or a land in a Valgavoth's Faithful. And of course he does have it. Of course he does. At least he doesn't get 2 combat phases though. I'll take it. Double artist talent. And not much else. This is very bad. Very, very bad. We don't have anything to discard. If we play this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just over. Yeah, it's just over. In our defense, he got really lucky. Because he had another Zombify. Like, he had already milled one and used one. The chances of him having a third Zombify in his hand was pretty slim. But he did. He went through all 4 of his Zombifies that game. Crazy. This looks fine. We'll keep it. Get that talent down early. Try to get it leveled up if we can. Although if we're up against an aggressive deck, I don't know if we'll quite get there. We might have to play the Pinnacle Starcage. We'll see what happens. Alright, Sunbillow Verge, Artist Talent. Team rip. Well, that's rude. That's super rude. I guess we'll do this. Get lost the seam rip. Is what it is. Goodbye, seam rip. Unholy Annex. That's right. Help me kill you quicker. Level up the talent. I mean, I kind of want to demand answers. I don't know if it makes sense, though. Guess we do it. I don't think the Starcage is going to do much against this opponent, so we'll get rid of it. And we'll get rid of the Dusk Rose Reliquary. Push the limit! Deep Cavern Bat. It's going to have to take the Legion Extruder. It's not completely awful, though. Uses the map token. Collector's Vault A. Discard the planes. Discard another demand answers. I guess we Pinnacle Starcage. We lose our Collector's Vault. But we get some value. I think it's worth it. Get lost, my dude. That's not the worst thing ever. I think we can deal with that. Let's cycle this. Play a Sacred Foundry. Play a Legion Extruder. Hit for 2. Pass a turn. We're going to turn one of these map tokens into a 3/3. Plays another Unholy Annex, so he's going down to 8. Wild. We're going to swing, so he's going to go down to 5. We could theoretically win. Right? Let me think. Pinnacle Starcage. Alright, we need one more for push the limit. We're going to want to sack this to the Legion Extruder. So I think we just swing 3 and end the turn. He has to make a demon, right? No, he's going to Ultima all artifacts and creatures. So his Deep Cavern Bat goes bye-bye. He'll go down to... Oh, he ended the turn, so he didn't draw or do anything. What do we have in here for vehicles? We have Detention Chariot, and that's it. We can swing for 6 with it, though. I think we win with Push the Limit. Oh my god. We actually pulled it off. We actually pulled it off. Unbelievable. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.